to Random Fandom Chats. I'm Tandra.
I'm Dee Dee.
And this is Annabeth. And here we talk about things that are pretty much sci-fi and fantasy related. Books, comics,
TV shows, games,
movies.
And today we're actually going to be talking about our top 10 characters who are not human. Now, it seems like a little bit of an odd category, but we thought it'd be interesting to look at some characters that, aren't exactly normal by most people's standards. And the first we have on our list would be Quark from Deep Space Nine, Star Trek.
Yeah, mostly Deep Space Nine. Why did he make the list?
Well, I think I like his character. He's funny. He's not necessarily the best character morally speaking, although he really is a good person when it really comes down to it. And you brought up an interesting point that you liked how he was a likable character that people did like, and it was okay to like him, even though he was very alien. Like, the Ferengi people and their culture and him himself are extremely different than what we, value as humans and whatnot, and it's still okay to like him and appreciate him.
Right, because a lot of times some of the characters we like tend to be humanized. The more human-like they are, the more human values they hold, the more we tend to like them sometimes, or the more we think, oh, those are great characters. But he didn't have a lot of the values and other things that humans had. He ended up with some.
Right, like you said, like when it comes really down to it, he's a good person, just not all the time. And sometimes he's a good person for more selfish reasons.
I thought he made a great Ferengi, but I also thought that he helped progress their race along a little bit, because some of the values he ended up with weren't quite as severe as a lot of the Ferengis had.
Right.
So I think that was kind of nice that he was still true to being a Ferengi. He was still definitely a Ferengi, but he was still
a likable person and a likable character.
Right. Who else is on the list?
We also have Crichton from the Red Dwarf series. Now, why would you want to put him on our list?
Well, Crichton, he just adds a lot of comedy to the show. Mm-hmm. He helps with their dynamic quite a bit. He makes some great comments that, you think about even later. One that just pops into my head is, Rimmer wants to go to red alert, and he goes, "Are you sure, sir? It does mean changing the bulb." Uh-huh. Or where he's talking about his double Polaroid, when he's human for a little bit.
Yeah.
He just brings a lot of humor to the show. He kind of adds that extra dimension.
A lot of the scenes from Red Dwarf that stick out in my memory probably have him saying his joke and whatnot. I would probably say so.
So I think he's a great character that just adds that. I mean, because the show's always funny and whatever, but once he becomes part of the cast, I think he adds that extra dynamic that makes it even better.
Well, and just like everything with Red Dwarf, you have these sci-fi themes, but brought in a very comedic light. And so you have something that's not an unusual concept, an android who struggles with, being, wanting to be human and all that, although they mostly just play on it from the very comedic side of things.
He's mostly just an android and doesn't mind being an android, but they talk about Silicon Heaven and all these other things, and so he just brings that great dynamic to the show, I think.
Mm-hmm. And another android we have on our list would be Data from Star Trek. Now, I would probably say that Data is one of my most favorite Star Trek series from any of the series.
He ranks up there, definitely.
Yeah. I just think he's such a fascinating character, because he has a lot of layers to him, in my opinion. He has a lot of depth, and that's very odd considering he's an android, and sometimes he can seem really, emotionless on the surface and whatnot, but he
really isn't.
He has a lot of layers to him, and I like that about the character, and you see him grow throughout the series, and you see him have to struggle with all these things, like, having a daughter for somebody who's pretty much his daughter for a short time, and then having to lose her and deal with that, and really learning what it is to be, for lack of a better term, human.
Right. Well, and his whole struggle to want to be more human, that's his main focus throughout everything, that he keeps wanting to do, and so watching him go through all of the things, and even the fight that he basically has a right, just like humans, to to his own,
because he does
thoughts
think
and feelings,
and feel. It's just maybe not necessarily in the same way we do. And I think his story is really kind of relatable to a lot of people, because even human beings, you know, we don't struggle to find what it means to be human necessarily, but we do struggle to, you know, find what it means to be us as an individual and what we like and dislike about ourselves and the kind of person we want to be and aspire to be. And so I think Data is really relatable to that point of view. Definitely. That, you know, he does go through this struggle. It's just a little bit more, you know, out in the open and prevalent in his character than it is in everyday people. Now, the next we have on our list would be Teal'c from Stargate.
Now, he is pretty much a human.
Right.
In a
he
lot
is
of
descended
ways.
from humans.
He's descended from humans, but he is an alien. He of course, is, you know, carrying around a gold. So,
and he's a Jaffa.
Yeah, because he's a Jaffa. And his whole struggle with, okay, he was part of the Jaffa, he, you know, had
he was, you know,
all of that,
Apophis.
Right, all of that going on, but then he decided to renounce all that and help humans, and all of his struggle, he left his family, you know, all these things.
That's his son.
Yeah.
I mean, that's gotta be hard.
All of these things he had to struggle with, but he was doing it for what he felt was the greater good and what, you know, was best and what he had to go through. And plus his friendship with the, you know, the other people.
With the other people on SG-1 was really neat.
Was really cool. And of course he was loyal to a fault. I mean, he
definitely.
You know, he would have done anything and everything for them, and that, you know, you just don't find many characters that are going, you know, to do that. Plus he added some comedic, you know, things to the show upon occasion.
Yeah, definitely.
Which was kind of cool. Plus he was just a cool, kind of a, you know, strong, you know, go-getter, you know, rough.
Well, I think he's a good example of, it doesn't matter what you might seem like on the outside, because he seems pretty cold and emotionless and uncaring, but he feels things very deeply, and like you said, he is loyal to a fault and all these things. So I think it's a good example of, you know, it doesn't matter what you might seem on the outside, you can be somebody totally different, you know, right beneath the surface. Sure. Now, another on our list would be, not a surprise here, Master Yoda from Star Wars.
Yoda's just cool.
Yeah, I don't think we really have to explain why he's on our list. He's just generally awesome.
He just is. You know, he's got the wisdom of, you know, over 800 years. He's, you know, he can fight really well. He, you know, trains.
Size matters not.
Just, yeah. I mean, he just comes up with, you know, really cool things. He's just cool. And I love the puppet version of him better than the CGI. Although the CGI you could do more with, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, and then the prequels, they really wanted to do more with him. They wanted to show him actually be like a warrior type.
Yeah, which was kind of nice. But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
Yoda is just
like you said, it's pretty evident why Yoda would be on our list. The next one would be Delenn from Babylon 5. Now, why would you want to consider her for our list, do you think?
She just seems to have the wisdom of the ages. I mean,
kind of like Yoda, actually.
Kind of like Yoda. She's very calm, but yet she can fight when need be. She, you know, seems very serene. You know, she was part, you know, of, you know, kind of the religious caste, so she was more.
She's very strong with her ideals and her loyalties and what she believes is right.
She's very soft-spoken. She just, you know, kind of low-key.
I think you can probably count the number of times she raised her voice on, like, one hand with fingers to spare.
Yeah.
But she was still very fierce. It was a calm kind of fierce, you know. You looked at her and you knew you never really wanted to mess with her.
She was kind of like that mother or that teacher that could just look at you and you just knew.
You're just like, no, okay,
I need to straighten up now. Yeah.
Like, okay, I need to be on my best behavior right now, because you kind of scare me.
Yeah, there was no raising of the voice or ranting or none of that. Didn't need it.
Look.
Yeah, she could just look at you and just know. It's like, oh, okay. So she was just one of those, and I think I really liked that she seemed, you could go to her with almost anything and she seemed to be able to answer it. She had the answers to everything, and it wasn't like she was a know-it-all or anything like that. She just, it was like an inner light wisdom that just, you know, pulled out. And of course the way her character was set up too is, you know, she was kind of a bridge between, you know, the humans and the race. So it was kind of, you know,
made sense that she was that very wise person who seemed to have all the wisdom of the universe.
Who else we got?
We also have Dax. I would pretty much say Jadzia and Ezri Dax would be one and the same for me.
Yeah, because I actually like them both. I know a lot of people are like, oh, Ezri, you know. We didn't have a chance to see her as much as we would have liked, but I enjoyed
what
her
I did
character.
see from her on DS9, I really liked.
I did. I love Jadzia. There was no problem with Jadzia. I really loved her, but I really liked Ezri as well.
For different reasons. I like both of them for different reasons.
And it was nice that the character could continue with a different actor and still be the character and dealing with that, and that was nice, and I enjoyed that, and I like the dynamics of the Dax character. You know, you had all of these different lives all in one, and you know, and
so you had all these like conflicting personalities, all kind of forming this one person.
Right? And just that whole concept is interesting,
right? You got to think having like 7 lives of memories crammed into your head.
That would be
That would not be pleasant for a while, I think, until you learn how to deal with that.
Plus, the spots are just kind of interesting and neat to look at.
I love her race.
The Trill race is
just
pretty
really
cool.
Fascinating.
So yeah, she's definitely a cool character and one of my favorites. You know, with that. Who else we got?
We also have, not pretty much surprising to anybody, the Terminator on our list. Now, I really liked how in the first movie he was the bad guy. He was the evil machine sent from the future to destroy, you know, John Carter. And then in this... Huh?
John Carter.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Carter.
Oh. I didn't mean to say so. I'm sorry.
We always get his name wrong one way or another.
And then in the second movie, he's the good guy. And you don't necessarily know that at first.
Right.
You just think, oh, he's here to kill him again. And then it turns out, oh no, he's actually there to protect him.
And then they have him as a good guy pretty much, you know, throughout after that.
And I prefer seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger as the good guy.
Most people do. I think that's why Terminator 2 was so much more popular than Terminator 1, even though I really thought Terminator 1 was quite a great movie. But I think people like to see Arnold as the good guy.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting, you know, how you got this machine, but he's really taught
to learn and try to feel,
and you kind of get the feeling that he really does kind of care, you know.
Oh yeah, you definitely get that feeling throughout this,
and that's always cool, you know, when you have this machine that all of a sudden has feelings and can care,
and it doesn't end terribly. I mean, the whole thing with Skynet was just kind of, you know, awful, but this individual, you know, machine did not end badly.
Right. Okay, we also have some more basically robots or androids.
We have R2-D2 and C-3PO. Now, since these two really have to come as a pair, you can't really have one without the other, we decided to just kind of put them in the same list together.
Kind of, yeah. They definitely... You almost can't pick one over the other, even though I think we have a little conflicts over some people like C-3PO better, some people like R2 better.
I personally think I like R2 just a little bit better than C-3PO,
and I think I like
but I do really like them, and I don't, like I said, I don't think you can really have one without the other, unless it's for like a short amount of time in one scene or something.
And they're a great team together. I mean, C-3PO, you know, loves R2, cares about him anytime something bad's going on. And then, of course, R2 gets upset if something's going wrong with C-3PO. They work well together.
And they're very loyal. They're extremely loyal droids.
To each other and to their humans.
Right, to their owners.
So that's pretty cool, and they're just a fun addition to the show, to the movies.
They
just add a lot of dimensions, and of course, knowing the backstory between, you know, about C-3PO being built by Anakin is pretty cool. And I don't know, there's just a whole lot going on there, you know, with their dimension, but they just once again bring the humor to the show, which is always cool.
And they complement each other well, because, you know, C-3PO is always worrying and fussing over everything, and R2 is just like, nah, I'm sassy.
Yeah, they're kind of Laurel and Hardy-ish, or, you know, Abbott and Costello sort of, so, you know, it's kind of cool. They ought to have that team in there that's non-human, but still there.
And then, last but not least, we have Dobby from the Harry Potter series. Now, it's so weird, because we almost forgot to consider him for the list, but then I remembered, I was like, oh no, we gotta put Dobby on the list.
Definitely.
How can we have a list of non-human characters and not put Dobby on the list? Now, I don't know. I I really love Dobby. He has such an innocence but yet bravery to him that is so rare to find in a person or in a character. And I mean, he just has this like childlike wonder that makes you really appreciate certain things in life and in the Harry Potter narrative. But like I said, he's also extremely brave. You know, spoiler alert for Deathly Hallows, but he gives his life to save Harry, the person who gave him his freedom.
And you cannot read that without crying.
No, you cannot read that scene without.
If you've read the series and followed Dobby throughout, all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh.
You're like, no,
and it was
die.
And it was important that he died. I think. I mean, I'm not sure it was necessary. Well, that's a topic for maybe another day. But
yeah,
I'm not sure it was a necessary death. But
I was still okay with it.
I was okay with it, but it hits you hard.
It hits you hard when you read it, and you know it's a terrible, sad thing. But I'm pretty okay with it because, like I said, he died saving Harry, the person who gave him his freedom and always treated him well and with kindness. And it was a very honorable death. It was a very meaningful death. Right. And I tend to not mind so much when characters die a meaningful death.
Right. As long as it has some purpose. And it did. I mean, you know, he saved him and everything. And
well, if you think about it, just in the second book where he makes his first appearance is just a show of his bravery and commitment. That he's willing to defy his, you know, pure-blood elitist masters and do things like slam his ears in the oven door and burn his hands because he's defying them. He still needs to help Harry Potter, and it's just... This is a kid you don't even know. Like, you're doing all this stuff.
Yeah, but he feels like he's that important. So that's pretty cool. So he's definitely up there. Now, these weren't in any particular order because, once again, if you've seen any of our others, you know we have trouble ranking them.
Right, we have trouble narrowing it down to 10, but then we have a lot of trouble trying to, like, narrow down, like, who's the best of the best.
Right, who's more important.
So we're not saying anybody on this list is particularly on top of the others.
And we had quite a few other people that might have made the list. We just weren't quite up to par with these others, and we do have a couple of honorable mentions.
Yes, we do have the T-1000 from Terminator.
Even though he's a bad guy, he's just really cool.
You gotta admit, just being able to change your shape into everything in that liquid metal, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and his relentless, just going after his goal, no matter what, those piercing blue eyes, I mean,
very startling.
Very startling. And at the time, you know, the whole morphing thing was relatively new, and watching him morph and do the other things in the show it's just great.
Right.
And we got a couple of others. We got
Porthos from Star Trek Enterprise.
He's a dog, which, you know, but I think he's not in a lot of the episodes. He doesn't have like a whole storyline attached to him or anything.
But he's precious. And every time you see him in a scene, you're like, oh, Porthos.
And I just think he brings a little extra dimension to Archer's character.
Well, really, besides Spot on Next Generation,
there's not a lot of them.
Yeah, you never really saw these, you know, people, these Starfleet officers have like a connection, like, oh, my pet, you know. Right. Besides Spot, I think that Porthos is one of the only pets you see on the starship. So, I don't know. He's just really precious. You can't help but love him.
And also related to Star Trek, pretty much any character that Jeffrey Combs played in any of the series have to have an honorable mention because he's just that good of an actor, and all of his characters are really awesome to watch.
I personally really like Sean from Star Trek Enterprise.
And I like Wayne, and of course, you know, he played some other great characters, and he's just fun to watch, and he's just a great actor.
He brings his characters to life very well.
He does. So I think that's pretty good for this top 10 list. You want to go ahead and grab the box? We'll see what we're going to do for our next time. Annabeth, you ready to pick one?
Alright, let's see. Let's get one of every color here.
Okay. Here you go, Annabeth. Which one? Come on, touch one.
Really? She doesn't want to pick one.
She
must be tired.
Fine. Sissy will pick one.
The yellow. Oh. This is the one we already picked. This is the one we did today.
How'd that... Oh, maybe we wrote it twice.
I don't know how that got put back in there.
Okay. Crazy.
Alright, we got more Harry Potter stuff. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows.
Oh, another book one. Okay.
Alright, I'm cool with that.
Alright, well, we'll see you next time. Remember, if you like us, please thumb up and tell all your friends and share or subscribe.
Also, leave comments below. Tell us your favorite non-human characters, anybody you think we should have put on the list, or if you agree with the people we put on our list, or any other comments you'd like to leave. Thanks!